Alright guys, just doing a quick video just to help. I still don't even know how to pronounce your name, like Joe Vaca or some shit. The guy from Canada that does tech videos, right? But this is just a quick video to go through cancel advantage, right? So I think the best example to go through for this is Sub-Zero's 4-2, right? Let's go through this first. So it starts off, right? We know 4-2 Ice Ball doesn't hit, right? And that's because there's not enough hit advantage on 4-2 to connect into Ice Ball. But it's been known for a long time that if you hit the 4-2 meaty on the very last frame, it does convert, as you'll see here. So knockdown, into meaty, catches the... Oh, oops, let's rewind that just a bit, right? So, just go to the frames, right? Oh my god, it's taking a while. Yeah. Alright, so we know 4-2 has a startup of 19, right? So let's go back to where it starts. Should be here. You can see the 2. Right? 19 frames. So from the 2 appearing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now it should be hitting here, right? This is the first active frame. But because we're hitting a meaty and it has 3 active frames, it should connect 2 frames later. So 19, right? That's where it should hit. Now 1, 2, and now it hits. You can see that, right? So usually it would hit here. This is startup of 19. Active frame 1, hits 2 frames later. 1, 2, it connects. And now, if we let it play, Ice Ball combos into a full combo, right? Pretty standard stuff. Now, the thing we need to care about, right? So, we see how it works, like how it works, I guess, in practice, right? But let's actually go through the theory behind this. I did Jade's back one as well, but it's a bit shoddy, and I'll go to it in a sec, right? Just to show you what I mean by shoddy. But let's look at Sub-Zero's 4-2, right? 90 frames of startup. Again, I'm taking this from Raptor's website because he has all the sick data on it. 90 frame startup, active frame 3, recovery 30, cancel frame, right? So let's go through what all this means, right? So, the anatomy of a move. You have startup, which is, how long it takes for it to actually become active. Active is when the move can actually hit you. And recovery is, I guess, the ending animation before you regain control of the character, right? So again, like the previous spreadsheet I've done, I've color coded this so you can sort of follow along with the move, right? There's a frame counter at the top, and over here we have the different parts of it, right? So this green part, this is active. This is the startup frames, right? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it becomes active on frame 19, right? So this is the startup here, and it becomes active on frame 19 over here. Active is active for 3 frames, and then you have your recovery. 30 frames of recovery, so this is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, right? 30 frames of recovery. Now, that's just your move. When we look at the opponents, alright, it's like, if you hit someone or they block your attack, right, we know that they get placed into block stun or hit stun. Now, the thing is with this, right, is this hit stun or block stun is fixed, right? Now, we take for granted that, a move has a block advantage of -6 or like a hit advantage of -3 or some shit, right? In this case, for sub, because 4-2, if it was more plus, it would be broken. Now, look at this over here, right? So, I've back calculated this to show exactly what's going on, right? So, on the first active frames, these red squares here, this is where you're in block stun, right? So if you make contact on the first active frame, you're placed into block stun like this, and you are placed into block stun for this duration, right? They don't tell you this, but you can back calculate, right? But basically, we know the block advantage is -6, right? Which means the opponent recovers 6 frames faster than you. Now these gray squares here, this is neutral, right? This is when it's returned to neutral, and you can move around as freely as you want. But over here instead, right? Because it's -6, it means they recover 6 frames first, or 6 frames faster. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? You can see there's 6 frames of them being in neutral before you're in neutral, right? So -6, pretty simple. Block advantage is all the same thing, right? So they're placed into a fixed hit stun. In this case, the hit stun is 3 frames longer than your block stun, right? Just looking at that, you can clearly see the difference between -6 and -3 is 3 frames, right? So again, we have that over here. But again, because 4-2 is negative on hit, the opponent recovers 3 frames before you do, right? This is your recovery, and this is the entire time in which they're stuck in stun. So these 3 frames over here is where you are, where they're recovering first and you can't move. Now, with cancel advantage, all right, in the frame data, which is what we have on Raptors as well, we have the cancel 22. This means on the 22nd frame you are allowed to cancel, right? That's when your move starts coming out, right? So over here, this is your frame. This is the frame window, right? So this is the anatomy of 4-2, right? This is the entire move, and this thing tells you that on frame 22, this one over here, you are allowed to complete another action. Now, it just so happens that it lands on the very first frame of bloody I guess your recovery, right? So it cancels out the rest of your recovery. But you can see like for Jade up here, right? It's not until later in the recovery, right? You can see it's like 3 frames into recovery. So every move cuts the recovery a slight bit short, based on what the move is, right? It's unique to the move, and the cancel frame is it's like completely unique. Now, again, this is your recovery, right? When you cancel a move, you cancel all the recovery, right? So in this case, for Jade's back 1, you would cancel this many frames of recovery, whereas for Sub-Zero's forward 2, you would cancel this many frames of recovery. Now let's look at something, right? Going back to the Ice Ball example, we saw that Ice Ball doesn't combo on active, or if you hit on the first active frame, but if you hit on the final active frame, it does combo, right? So over here, I've placed the startup of Ice Ball, right? Over here. So this is, Ice Ball is the startup of 28, right? So from here to here, I'm not going to counter, right, but let's take my word for it, right? From here to here is exactly 28 frames, just make this easy so you guys can see I'm not bullshitting, right? Right. Oh, sorry. Did I have that wrong? Actually, sorry. Actually, this is the thing I had wrong. So I changed my form before, right? This is your cancel frame. Your cancel starts the frame after this. So it should be... Actually, I don't know. There's one frame thing here. It might be like this. Yeah, should be like that. My bad, guys. So it's like, yeah. So this is the cancel frame, and you're able to move one frame up. Like the cancel starts from the next frame after, right? So it's probably 22 frames from the start, which will be over here. Whatever. I'm just brain dumping. And the point is, let's look at this, right? So on hit, right? Let's look over here. The opponent recovers on this frame over here, right? The opponent recovers on this frame. So clearly, because they're in neutral, they can your ice ball's an active. So your ice ball doesn't hit until this particular frame. Let's change the color of this. Let's make this purple, right? So that's when the ice ball hits. But again, clearly over here, when it hits, you've already recovered. Now, if you hit it on active frame 2, which is I put active 1, but whatever, the second active frame, again they've already recovered, right? Active frame 3, clearly they are still in hit stun, so then it does combo, right? Now, like I said, I still didn't explain what cancel advantage is, right? So if we look back at block advantage and hit advantage, like block advantage is what? Block advantage is the difference, right? We said it was the difference between these two, right? So when you block the move, so when you block in the first frame, you're placed into this fixed block stun or block stun animation, but also you're stuck in this recovery animation, right? So the difference between their block stun and your recovery is the block advantage, right? Likewise with hit advantage, right? This is their hit stun, this is your entire recovery, and the difference over here is your hit, or is the hit advantage, or in this case hit disadvantage, because you're negative on hit. Now, active frames, right? When you make contact with a move, again, you're placed into a fixed block stun or hit stun, right? But when you hit later, you can clearly see here, right, that the move the move is slightly late, right? So which means they're placed into the block stun or hit stun one frame later, and which shifts everything forward, which is why you have this variable frame data, right? So by landing, again, by hitting active, or by hitting on the last active frame, you're hitting it late, so that's why you become more plus. Now when you look at cancel advantage, right? Cancel advantage is how much extra advantage do you get, right? How much extra advantage do you get when, do you get by canceling recovery, right? Because again, we said that the cancel frame is frame 22, right? So instead of going through its entire recovery animation, right, I cancel it by doing something else. So all these frames of animation disappear and I get to do whatever I want, right? But whatever I want doesn't include going back to neutral to throw, right? You have to do a special, right? So if I do a slide is the start of 11 frames, right, which would be over here, right? So this slide would jail because clearly they're still in block stun or hit stun, right? So again, all cancel advantages is the total advantage you get, right? The total advantage you get by canceling your move, right? When you cancel your move, you cancel the rest of the recovery, or you cancel a portion of the recovery and you get extra advantage. But the difference with the normal advantage is In normal advantage, you go to neutral and you get to do whatever you want. In this case, because you're canceling into a special, all you get to do is a special. So from this point on, yes, you cancel your recovery, but you're fixed into, or you're limited into doing a particular number of moves. So a character like Joker or Johnny, right? Their fatal blow dash cancels are really good because they can cancel into that, in which case they can dash cancel and then they regain their neutral state much earlier. Right? Guys, I hope that sort of makes sense. And just to quickly brain up, right? This has nothing really to do with cancel advantage, right? But the Jade's back one is janky as crap, right? I was testing this just then, and none of the frame data makes sense for her, right? Just to show you an example of this, right? So this is Jade. Again, let's full screen this, right? So Jade's back one. Let's go back to the frames over here, right? Jade's back one, according to the frame data, should have a cancel advantage of 15. Oh, sorry, 32 on hit, right? 32 on hit, according to the frames. But if you look at this, let's play this. Here we go. So that's 31. Okay, that's one frame lower. 32, right? Now if you compare these two, active one, right? Hits of the first active frame, 32. Let's go to the first one. First active frame, 31. Wait, I don't understand. Active frame 1 again, 32. Active frame 1, 33. 33. Like, Jade's back one doesn't fucking make sense, like, at all, right? Like, literally at all. Like, nothing makes sense with this fucking character. Actually, I can't really show this, but anyways, yeah, guys, I hope that sort of makes sense, right? If you guys have any questions, you guys can PM me, right? Just to actually, I might do one last example, right? So you can see how cool this is for other things, right? Because you can clearly see what's happening. Again, this is mostly like cancel windows and stuff, right? Rather than cancel advantage, but it's a really good thing to see, right? So let's go Shao Kahn, right? Shao Kahn 4-3, right? Now, for the longest time, people have said Shao Kahn's 4-3, right? Let me get this over quick. Shao Kahn's 4-3. I should have done this earlier, but just wanted to get this done quick, to be honest. Right, Shao Kahn's 4-3 has this. Jokes, this is messed up. There we go. Right, this is Shao Kahn's 4-3. That's the frame data on Shao Kahn's 4-3, right? So let's just implement this again and see what happens, right? So Shao Kahn 4-3, right? So what's the frame data? It is 10 startup, 10 active frames 4, recovery 31, cancel frame is 24, block advantage is -8, hit advantage is 1. Right, so all the stuff's calculated, right? Now let's I think get rid of this blue shit because I don't need the blue shit anymore. Alright, now look at this, right? For the longest time, people have said Shao Kahn's 4-3 sit confirmable, right? And it was like how is that? How is it like that, right? Now from this, you can clearly see why it's hit confirmable, or more hit confirmable than other moves, right? So over here, right, again, the anatomy of Shao Kahn's 4-3, 10 frame startup, so it hits over here. There's 4 active frames over here. And recovery is massive at 31 over here. Yeah, 31 over here. Now, but look at the cancel frame, 24. That's over here, right? So let's talk about how a hit confirm works, right? Hit confirm works as soon as you see a hit, obviously, right? You see a hit and then you input the special. Now, for something like subs 4-2, which is obviously impossible to hit confirm, right? The cancel frame is here, right? That's your last frame to cancel. So you have 4 frames to hit confirm, actually 3 frames to hit confirm, right? If it hits on this one, you got 3 frames to recognize that it hit and then decide to do a special, which is physically impossible. Now let's look at Shao. If you hit on the first, active frame, frame 10, right? You have all the way up to here to confirm, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You got 14 frames to confirm that it hit and input your special. Again, that's still ridiculously tight, right? But if you're focused in 10 frames, you can definitely decide to press 3 and finish off the shoulder special, right? But that's interesting to I'm not really certain if you input the cancel earlier. Like, actually, no. In theory, you shouldn't, right? It should always be at that one fixed point, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't get gaps and shit. But the point is, yeah, like, you get variable cancel frames, right? So in this case, for Shao, your cancel advantage isn't as great because this is the by canceling over here, right? You only get these additional. You get, I guess, this additional frame, right? You get these additional frames. So on block, it goes from +8 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? 12. So it goes from +8 to +20, right? Or +21. I think I got that wrong. Jokes. It goes from -8. I'm retarded. Sorry, -8 to +12. Right. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Lines of what we have here. Anyways, guys, that's a brain dump. Hope this video helped. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just shoot me a message.